Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another event idea. Now, this one kind of drew, but it was in the lead for longer than the other event in the Discord, so I'm going to go with this one for now, and then next week I'll do a mini update, and then I'll follow it up with the event that drew with this event. So this event is actually very similar to the Roman event I did a few months back, the I Carambus or Carumbus, whatever it's called, event idea, which is based on that episode. It's kind of similar in the fact that it's both a sort of classic, tale, and this one is basically the Odyssey and Odysseus, and obviously it's Greek instead of Roman essentially. So yeah, this is based primarily on one episode. Everything's from that episode. I have scraped the bottom of the barrel for this one, and obviously there is a doppelganger warning for this one. There's a lot of doppelgangers in this one, but I think it could work. Now, I'm a big fan of classical literature. I love the Odyssey, the Iliad, and the Aeneid. I really love these kind of classic tales, so I think it would be very cool. Although, to be honest, the Odyssey is probably my least favourite. I much prefer the Iliad and the Aeneid to the Odyssey, but whatever. The Odyssey is the more mainstream one, so it makes sense why the Simpsons decided to parody it. So just to start up the little start-up message, Lisa is helping an archaeological dig and find some ancient texts. They appear to be Trojan, meaning that Troy was in Springfield all along. Lisa thinks that makes no sense, though, but Quimby, Mary Bailey and other politicians are right on that, and they tell the town to find more if they want a reduction on their bills. So you make Lisa question the historical accuracy and make Homer dig. So there's going to be free currencies. Obviously you got ancient texts. Obviously these will have to be animated. You got ancient mirrors. You got poison antidotes, and then you've got ancient blades or ancient swords or whatever. Or, these are all sort of ancient Greek artifacts or ancient Rome artifacts, apart from the antidote, obviously. The super premium item is going to be Dionysus. Dionysus. I'm trying to remember how to say this. Dionysus? I think it's Dionysus. Dionysus for £8.99, pounds or dollars. So this is the Greek god of, quite a lot of things, but mainly mainly wine, I think it is, actually, not just alcohol in general. I'm pretty sure it's specifically wine. But yeah, one of the sort of gods that we see in the episode as well, so obviously makes sense to add him. I think he's the least relevant one though, so I think for me, I prefer this one to be added as super premium. And yes, this will be a character, not a costume for Barney, because it is technically a separate character, and I'd rather than be consistent at this point. And then in the store for Act 1, you got the City of Troy with King Priam for 150 donuts. So King Priam is obviously Flanders, but it will be a separate character. Now, how they add the City of Troy, I think, is interesting. They could possibly just kind of add these big walls, make them kind of circular, maybe have a few houses in the middle here, and then a big castle at the end, and then just kind of like that, like a reduced version of Troy. I still want this to be a big-ass building, but I think you're going to have to reduce it somewhat just so, it makes sense that it's in the thing. Now, they could do the Castle of Troy instead and just have, the Troy's castle, the main castle. We don't actually see the main castle, we only really see the city walls, but they could potentially do that too. Either one, really. But yeah, I'd like them to try and, make something of this. So Homer is digging up in Flanders Garden, and King Priam tells him to stop. That's the graveyard of his city. He's digging up there. Homer thinks this is Flanders at first, but Ned tells Homer that he can keep it up. Homer asks King Priam how he got duped by those Greeks, and you do all your tasks, then you unlock the Trojan horse, which would be very cool to get. The town gather around Flanders' house to speak to King Priam and to discover the ruins. Dionysus is there too, but everyone doesn't really care about the god because he is drunk. Priam vows to tell the town about his poor city, and this will unlock the City of Troy sign, as you can see here. So this is kind of an add-on to this building, but I kind of like it when they do that. It's an incentive to buy this building, and it's another thing that you can add to the building, so I'm cool with them doing that. The town grows sympathy for the Trojan king and tell him that they have a revenge plan just for him. They're going to defeat these violent Greeks who helped to destroy his city. Homer, though, has grown tired of King Priam. The town come up with creative ways to, for revenge, all of which are just more Trojan horses, basically. So, you do all your tasks, and you unlock the Trojan dog and Trojan pig as a bundle. These would be 2 separate decorations, but yeah, very cool. And then King Priam is happy with the town's enthusiasm, and even Flanders is on board with this revenge plot. He tells the town all the ideas they've been sending him are great, but he's tracked down Odysseus now, and he's hiding at Mos. So, you make like King Priam read through all of his fan mail, and you unlock the Trojan mailbox, which is right here. Obviously, it's full of mail. This is actually in the episode. I know it's like a modern joke, but yeah, why not? The town find Odysseus and demand that his death, but Homer steps in and saves the man, telling the town to back away. With the help of Dionysus, they escape and go back to the Simpsons house to hide, and this will unlock Odysseus as a full playable character. Alright, boom, Act 2 comes, and we got the Papillon with Helen of Troy as a Gills deal. Now, the Papillon has never actually appeared in the show officially, but they've made tapped-out exclusives before of like real-life buildings, like the University of Heidelberg and things like that. So, do you know what? They can make this. It's not even that hard as well, because you can just make the ruins, and it'd be quite similar to other things we've got in the past anyway. So yeah, just kind of make it quite big, make it quite nice looking. You can make it kind of like a ruin, maybe have a few statues in there, and this will come with Helen of Troy, which is basically Agnes Skinner, but who cares really. In the store for Act 2, you got the Sirens Island with the Sirens for 150 donuts. Now, these will be a 2-in-1 character. They will not be 2 separate characters, obviously. And this is partly... This one character is one of the reasons why I ended up making these all characters and not costumes. Because you couldn't really split the Sirens up as 2 separate costumes, so that it makes just sense for them to be a character. But yeah, they'll come with the Siren Island, which is right here. Now, I want them to kind of reduce this island somewhat, make it a little bit smaller, just so it makes sense for them to, have an animation on there. So kind of reduce the island somewhat, but you can kind of have like one of those big sort of peaks in the middle, and then a few kind of rocks, maybe like a little bit of sand. I still want it to be fairly big, but obviously you can't have it this big, especially because it does need to be, a building. And yeah, I think building is fair, because it's like ships and stuff. The building task could be like crashing ships to steal their booty or something, and that kind of justifies it being a building instead of a decoration, because it's earning money. Homer doesn't know where to hide Odysseus, and quite obviously the town have tracked him down. However, a pair of sirens offer Odysseus safety. Homer goes to distract the mob, whilst Marge sneaks out Odysseus, and they head for the Squidport. So, you do all your tasks, and you unlock Odysseus' ship, which is right here. And I actually want them to add some detail to this, because it does look pretty cool. It's quite simple, but like, with this sort of detail here and the little sign, I think they could make it look a bit better. Odysseus and Marge make it to the island safely, and the Sirens welcome them, but warn them that there is a horrid beast lurking around these parts, so beware. She turns people into stone. She's so ugly. So you do all that, and you unlock the Greek statue, which is right here. As a kind of warning, you could be like, oh, there's a statue there. Marge finds Helen of Troy and lampoons the Sirens for calling her ugly. She's got to be the most beautiful person in the entire game. I kind of want this to carry on through Helen of Troy's task, that everyone's like, oh my god, she's so beautiful, because that's what Helen of Troy is meant to be, like the most beautiful person in like the world, basically, or at least at that time. So and because they make Agnes her, I kind of want them to like carry on with that as like a running gag. Yeah, so the Sirens say they were not talking about Helen, they were talking about themselves. They turn people into stone. It's their new thing now. Crashing ships became boring. But like how they do turn people into stone is they're like, oh yeah, we just like cover them in like clay, basically. So whatever, you do your tasks and you unlock the Medusa's House of Beauty. Now this is from the comic. It's the only thing I've taken from the comic, but I kind of wanted them to have at least one building per prize track, apart from Act 1, where I think it's kind of justified not having one. But like you're getting the Trojan horse, which I think you could maybe make a building at a stretch. I mean, there's people living in there, I suppose, for like a night. No, I think to be fair, make the Trojan horse like really, really big, really, really epic, and I think you've justified not having a building in there. This one though, I think there has to be a building in the rest of the prize track, so I ended up just ripping this from the comics, but it's only one. Marge is slowly being turned into stone when Odysseus steps in to help and attacks the Sirens. The Sirens, though, prove to be very powerful with their stares and their horrid singing. Odysseus prays for a Deus Ex Machina, however Dionysus is too drunk and misses when he throws one of Zeus's lightning bolts. So whatever, you unlock the lightning bolts, which are right here. Very cool. And Marge is nearly turned into stone when suddenly Bart comes to the rescue. Using his slingshot, he fires makeup at the Sirens. They gasp in shock. No, you're making us beautiful by society's stupid standards. So Bart, Odysseus and Marge escape, and Marge asks how. Bart explains he got a little help from a certain sea god. Marge says, oh wow, that must have been why you were travelling home on a wave. Why we're travelling home on a wave. So, yeah. You do all your tasks and you unlock Poseidon as a full playable character, obviously. So, yeah, pretty cool. Very cool indeed. Moving on. Act 3. Now, this is the only character who isn't a doppelganger, so I do apologise. But it's Cersei with Cersei's temple. Now, we don't really see Cersei's temple too much. We only kind of see glimpses of it. But we see the door here, and we kind of know how it generally looks. So I think they could definitely semi-tapped out exclusive this for sure. Yeah, Cersei's a pretty cool character too, so let's get into it. So Odysseus tells Marge that he no longer needs her help. He is going to find his people, and he will put a stop to evil King Priam. He tells her he met a nice lady on TikTok who promises to give him shelter. Marge and Odysseus depart, and Odysseus meets with Cersei, who Bart is there though, and he tags along. Odysseus tells Bart he doesn't need his help, he's got Cersei, but Bart points out there's some dead people in her little temple. So you do all your tasks and you unlock the poisonous cauldron, and obviously the little skeletons will all be by it too. Very, very cool little decoration there. Odysseus confronts Cersei about this ordeal, but she assures him they were Trojans and they deserved it. Odysseus demands to know where his friends are, but Cersei tells him they're fine. Bart, though, does some snooping and finds them all as pigs. So you have some little tasks and you unlock Odysseus' companions. Now, to be honest, I think this could be kind of cool to make as an NPC, as a 4-in-1 NPC. So, I don't know, though. Could they do that? I was thinking decoration at first, and it would be easier as a decoration, I suppose. But part of me kind of wants these guys as NPCs, because I don't think they're justified to be like separate characters or anything, just because they're quite minor at least in the Simpsons adaptation of this story. So I think making them as like little pig NPCs could be like a funny way to do it. So yeah, I don't know. If they could do that, that'd be awesome. Once more, Odysseus confronts Cersei, but she tells him, don't worry, they're just doppelgangers of your crew, not the real crew. And again, they were pro-Trojan supporters. They were Springfielders, which is, just as bad. Cersei asks Odysseus to relax and enjoy her temple. Bart, though, isn't convinced of this and begins to talk to the Hibbit one, who shock, has no clue about modern medicine. It can't be our Hibbit, it has to be that Hibbit. So anyway, you do your tasks and you unlock the temple pillar, just as kind of a decoration that you can chuck in the store. I think it's like really, really cool looking though, and I think you could do a lot with this little pillar. I just kind of saw it in the background, and yeah, I don't know. I need just to fill out the price track some way, so there you go. Cersei gives Odysseus a nice cup of wine, but Bart hits her away, telling Odysseus it's poison. She's trying to turn him into bones or a pig or something worse. Cersei is offended, telling Bart she wouldn't do such a thing. In fact, she's actually been working on a surprise to make Odysseus feel right at home. And that is that she's rebuilt Odysseus' house. So you do all your tasks and you unlock the home of Odysseus. This is a really, really cool building, for sure. Obviously, I want it to be, connected to the sea. It has to be like a beach building, unfortunately, but, I think that's how you do it justice. Maybe you could do it on a river, possibly, but... Oh, actually, what you could probably do, make it a land building, but have, water at the front, and then you'll be able to connect your rivers to the sort of water in front of the house. That could be one way of doing it. Yeah, turns out Cersei was building Odysseus a home, but Bart asks her to explain why the Hibbit Pig knows nothing about modern medicine, why Mo doesn't know about what Duff is, and why the Lenny one doesn't know anyone called Carl. However, Hibbit explains he's not used penicillin since 1987. Mo has banned Duff because they wouldn't let him war it down anymore, and Lenny said him and Carl are falling out. So that's why he's pretended. So Cersei is so mad, and Odysseus says sorry and asks her to forgive him. She says she will, for a, smooch, a kiss. And Penelope emerges, telling Cersei to get out, and, Penelope is back, and Odysseus is like, whoa, I wasn't trying, wasn't doing anything. Oh no, whatever. You do all your tasks and you unlock Penelope as a full playable character for Marge. Oh, actually, not for Marge. It's a separate character. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Act 4, we've got Zeus with Mount Olympus for 150 donuts. So this was going to be similar to kind of heaven buildings that we got in the past, anything heaven related. It's just going to be this kind of, it's a bit of a boring adaptation of Mount Olympus, to be honest, but essentially it's going to be this little ruin thing floating on the clouds, maybe like a table or something in between, or like a big globe or something. And it will come with Zeus, who is basically just Quimby, but whatever. Lisa asks Homer and Marge where Bart is, and they confirm he's chilling with Odysseus. Lisa is concerned and looks for Bart, who is chilling, walking on water, thanks to Poseidon. Lisa tells Bart to stop mucking around. King Priam and the mayor are talking about searching for Odysseus, even getting the military involved. Poseidon volunteers his god powers to spy in and sees King Priam has actually made a deal with Zeus to have Odysseus for himself. So whatever, you do your thing, and you unlock the Poseidon Cloud as a decoration. Yes, this could be an animation, but I'm thinking back to the Bleeding Gums Murphy Cloud, which they added as a decoration. Part of me would have preferred it if maybe it was an animation for Bleeding Gums Murphy, but I kind of also do like the cloud as well, because you can kind of just do what you want with it. So yeah, I'm going to go with this one as a decoration too. Odysseus says Zeus is far too powerful for him to fight, so he must find a way to get King Priam, but to find another way to get to King Priam, but it's going to take a lot of training montages to do so. So, Odysseus starts all that, and you unlock the Barrel of Swords. Odysseus approaches King Priam, who is surrounded by his troops. Lisa, though, has a plan. She plays her saxophone badly, combined with the voices of those sirens, to knock out King Priam's troops. So, you do your tasks, and you unlock the Sleeping Trojans. Odysseus goes to kill King Priam, but Zeus stops him, telling him if he does that, telling him that he has made a deal, and one little Greek is not going to mess it up. He tells Odysseus he has a choice: spare Priam and live your days down under in the river Styx, no, not Australia, or kill Priam and I send your son there instead. Odysseus chops off Priam's head, and obviously Telemachus is sent to the river Styx. So you do all your tasks and you unlock the river Styx. And then Odysseus, with the help of Lisa, rescues Telemachus from the river Styx, and it appears that whilst he was there, Odysseus dipped himself into the river and now is immortal. He didn't forget his Achilles' heels though, so he's fully immortal. He's got no 8 points. He attacks Zeus with his sword, causing Zeus to surrender his God King title to him. So you do all your tasks and you unlock Telemachus as a full playable character. And the epilogue is Odysseus has gone a bit mad with power now, and the Simpsons kind of regret helping him. They decide to send a good old Trojan donut to him, filled with God, Jesus, Buddha, and Yahweh to defeat the new God. As a nice little full circle. And it could be cool if we got a Trojan donut, but yeah, probably not. So that is my little thing. I don't know. I think an event like this is sometimes looked down upon just because obviously it would be mainly doppelgangers, and I do think that you could make them costumes, but at this point in the game they've done so many kind of doppelgangers. I don't think what's an event with a bunch more really. Cersei's probably going to be the highlight of this one, but I think they could do some interesting stuff with Odysseus for sure. But let's get on to tasks and animations and have a look at what I came up with. So for Dionysus, we have drunkenly throw lightning bolts. So he's going to be kind of, basically pissed out of his mind. He's going to be stumbling, and he's going to be throwing these lightning bolts like a fool, and they're just going to be like falling flat, basically. Clean up Olympus for 4 hours. Basically, in his little animation, it's going to be essentially that, what's happened. That basically in his quest line, he's sick and he's breaking things in Olympus, so he's having to clean it up. Inspire drunks for 8 hours. That'll be at Moe's. And turn a lake into wine. So this will be at one of the fishing lakes or fishing ponds, whatever they're called. Maybe it could be turn a pond into wine. One of the ones that Judge Snyder fishes at, and I think Chalmers might have an animation there too. Basically, he'll be there and he'll just turn the water like red essentially, and it will be wine. And then create a new alcohol for 24 hours. That will be, I don't know if Fury if you have it, but could be anywhere really. For King Priam, we have defend the city for 60 minutes. So this is going to be him with a sword out, kind of outside the city gates, and he's going to be like, kind of like rather underwhelmingly like, sort of slashing his sword back and forth. Rule over his subjects for 8 hours. That will be at his city of Troy. Beg for his city's life for 12 hours. So this is going to be him praying to the gods. Essentially, he'll be like kind of begging, pleading to the ground, begging, and then maybe like some god feet kind of could, maybe he could like wash the feet or whatever of the god, because, or does he kiss the feet? I'm forgetting what King Priam does in the Iliad with Achilles. Does he kiss his feet? Something like that. I don't know. They could do something like that. But basically, he'll just be begging for his life. And then try and make a new kingdom for 24 hours. That'll be at the town hall. For Odysseus, we have fight Trojans. So I want this animation to be like really, really cool. Have 2 little Trojan NPCs. Rip them straight from the episode that aren't, any characters that are established in the show. Rip 2, random sort of background characters from the episode. 2 of the Trojans. And then have Odysseus, just like absolutely like, have a sword fight with them, proper, really nice animated sword fight that loops. Train his son for 4 hours. That will be at the house if you own it. Complain to the gods for 8 hours. That will be at Mount Olympus if you own it. If not, it could just be any old Greek building. Venture into the river Styx. So I want an animation on the river Styx of him like riding like a skeleton or something, or actually fighting a skeleton in the river Styx. Now I know that's not what the river Styx really looks like in Greek literature, but that's how the show interpret it. So run with that. I want them to have like Homer like fighting skeletons basically on the river Styx, which the river Styx I forgot to really say about. I do want this to be like an actual building, I want this to kind of be like almost like an extension of hell. So you have the sign and like the lava sort of going down it, and kind of have it like a sort of cave almost. Not even a cave. What's a better, like a cliff? Like the river, the lava is going to be quite long. I don't know, like almost like a lava lake, I guess, with these like kind of rocky banks on the side and the signs and the skeletons. But yeah, I want him to be like fighting a skeleton on this little ship on the river Styx. Where are we? And go on another adventure for 24 hours. That will be, anywhere really. For Helen Troy, flaunt it for 60 minutes. Just her kind of, flaunting, maybe like taking a little bit of cloth off her arm and showing her arm off, something like that. Make room for a new husband for 4 hours. This is essentially her killing her current husband, whoever that may be in the questline. Cause mayhem for 8 hours. That will be at any sort of Greek building, but Helena Troy is arguably the cause for a lot of events in all those books. Well, in the Iliad and the Odyssey, anyway. Try on modern fashion for 12 hours. So this can be her like trying on some like Armani suits or something, or some Gucci pants. Just trying on some like fashion, and then select a new man for 24 hours. That will be anywhere really. Brown House. For the Sirens, so lowering the ships, that will be on the island, on like a little rock near the island. There will be like a designated rock for these characters to have their little animations. They'll just be sat on the rock, kind of singing, smoking, or not even singing, they could just be smoking, but just sat on the rock. And maybe even actually like a little ship could kind of get lured in and crash on the rocks. That could be cool. Work on their singing voices for 4 hours. That will be obviously at the island. Renovate the island for 8 hours. That will be at the island. Become pirates for 12 hours. So this will be them on the rock, and they'll be like dressed up as stereotypical pirates. One of them will have like a little telescope, kind of looking like yar, trying to find ships. They're like rebranding themselves, and then try a new method of killing for 24 hours. For Poseidon, we have Ride Away for 60 minutes. So this will be actually on your roads, not on the rivers or anything. But basically, like a little wave will spawn and he'll just be riding around your town on like a literal wave. Because why not? Remove trash from the ocean for 4 hours. That'll be the Squidport. Rule the sea for 8 hours. That'll be at the Squidport. Defeat sea monsters for 12 hours. So just this big, large, like octopus will spawn in your town, like this huge fat thing. And Poseidon will have his little his little pitchfork. I forget the actual term. Trident. It's trident, right? He'll have his trident and he'll be like stabbing the octopus or whatever in the eye, you know, kind of like a little bit of a sea captain animation, but like a really, really big sea monster. And then sink ships he doesn't like for 24 hours, that'll be the Squidport. For Cersei, we have test out new poisons for 60 minutes, so she'll be walking around, she'll whip out maybe like a little NPC man, can like move over, and she'll hand him a poison, the guy will drink it, and he'll be like, he'll be sick, he goes all green or something, and he's like, you know, turns away and he's like sick or something, or maybe he'll like drink it and he turns into a pig, or he drink like another NPC will come around and he'll drink it and turn into a pig, or another one might drink around and be fine. Basically, like one of those. Try out new spells for 4 hours. That will be at her temple. Torture her guests for 8 hours. That will be at the temple. Clean up skeletons for 12 hours. So outside of her temple, some skeletons will form and she'll just be there with like a broom sweeping them all up. And invite more victims for 24 hours. That will be at the temple. For Penelope, we have train in swordsmanship for 60 minutes. So this is like a thing I think could be kind of cool. Obviously, like a lot of these kind of female characters, they are like very interesting in like Greek literature and stuff, but often they're not like warriors and stuff, apart from like, you know, the you have like the Amazon women who are like warriors. But I think it could kind of be cool instead of having Penelope be like, you know, a boring wife character basically, which is what she is in this episode, and kind of largely what she is. I mean, she's not that boring. She's not one of the most boring wife characters in, you know, kind of classic literature, but she is quite boring in this adaptation. All she does is just kind of stand there, like, with a list or whatever, looking for like a new husband, or like talking to new people who want to get married to her. So, I think, to be honest, having her actually be like a warrior could be kind of cool too. So yeah, so I got training swordsmanship for 60 minutes. Her pretty much just training, you know, with a sword. Buy expensive swords with her husband's gold for 4 hours. That will be anywhere really. Sneak into the army for 8 hours. Again, could be any Greek building. Guard her home for 12 hours. That will be her pretty much outside of her home on the balcony with a bow and arrow. So on the little balcony down here, she'll have like a bow and arrow, and she'll be like guarding her home. And then, yeah, hide from men wanting to marry her for 24 hours, obviously to relate to that, her role in the episode. Then for Zeus, we have turn into a goose for 60 minutes. Obviously something he notoriously does. Or is it a swan? I think it's a goose. It's a goose or a swan. Either one. He's going to turn himself into a goose. Classic Greek Zeus, classic Zeus antics. And I think they should, even though they wouldn't say in the show, I think they should do it in the game. Bully lesser gods for 4 hours, that'll be at Mount Olympus. Give plot armor to his favourite humans for 8 hours, that'll be at Mount Olympus. Rule Mount Olympus with fear for 12 hours, so this will be him and Mount Olympus. He'll be kind of like, you know, throwing his hands in the air, like as a mad gesture, and then lightning will like, you know, like kind of like, the whole of Mount Olympus will go kind of stormy, and all around that building will be like some cool kind of, you know, lightning effects and thunder and all that. Maybe it could even have like a little sound with it too. That could be cool. And then marry another sister for 24 hours. That will be at Mount Olympus. And then for Telemachus, we have craft a statue of his father. For him, I went through this like kind of, you know, cute sort of, oh, I'm looking for my father. So he'll be like crafting this statue of Odysseus, which I think could be a really cool little animation, something unique for like a Bart character. Host another funeral for his father for 4 hours. Run the house in his father's absence for 8 hours. Search for his father again for 12 hours. This will be him kind of like Scooby-Dooing. He might have like a magnifying glass looking for clues, you know, searching for his father. Maybe he's got like posters. Maybe he can put like a poster, hand like an NPC a poster or something. And then give up on his father for 24 hours. So yeah, that is my little animation, my little event. Let me know what you thought of it. Like I said, a little bit doppelgangery, but I think there's some cool things in here for sure, and I definitely think this is an episode they could touch on. Maybe not for a whole event, but they certainly could do like a very strong act with this with this episode. But let me think. Well, let me know what you think of it being a whole event. Do you think maybe it's a bit too stretched out? Do you think that the characters are too weak? But yeah, anyway, just let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.